Which would you choose, love or money? Welcome to Project 6+1, a social experiment. We brought 6 people to 383 Studios in the heart of Brooklyn, New York. They all have one thing in common. They are human. Money matters more than love.
If I could have a side baddie or person, if they're like a billionaire or something, that's my answer.
Yeah.
If you're looking for someone else to provide you a certain kind of lifestyle, then from the start, you're not looking for love, really.
I broke up with someone I genuinely loved because we couldn't afford the same life. Rent was real, bills were real, love wasn't paying for dinner.
Falling in love is almost always the quickest part of a relationship. It happens fast.
Most marriages would fare better if the couple, after 10 years, if they issue a 10-year marriage license, and after 10 years, you have to sit with the person and decide whether or not you want to go into the next 10 years.
This is Project 6+1. Today's topic, modern love or convenience. You meet the love of your life tomorrow, and everything about them is absolutely perfect. But there's one catch. They'll never post you, never tag you, never show the world you exist. Would you still stay in the relationship?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
It's preferable.
Okay, I want to start with Michael because you answered first.
Okay.
So you would still stay in the relationship despite never being posted or tagged or anything?
Yeah.
Why so?
Why do I need to be posted?
Why wouldn't you want to be posted?
Because I don't really care about being online.
I think my girlfriend's in that relationship right now, unfortunately. I don't post anything. I don't post pictures of her, and she's okay with it. So,
But
I
do you
don't.
post things online at all?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Because I think it depends. Like, if you're somebody that posts, like, everything,
For
and then you don't post your partner, I do think that's a little, like, what's going on?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
weird, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you yourself not post for real anyway?
Not really.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If the love of my life was an influencer and decided not to post me, that would be kind of weird.
I am an influencer, and I would not post my partner on the internet.
And what's the reason behind that, Chizzy?
Because that is a boundary of mine. Like, I don't feel like I would want to share that part. So I wouldn't want to do that. But I would have to tell my partner that.
Where do you think the boundary comes from?
Just like knowing like what parts of my life I want to share and what parts I don't want to share. So that's one that like I realized, okay, that's a little too close, especially if it's maybe like a new relationship. I don't know, maybe like when I'm married one day, maybe, but like if it's something new that I'm not like sure where it's really gonna go, I wouldn't want to like post it online.
Okay. Vara, how do you feel about that?
I am also in that kind of relationship where we don't really post each other. We do sometimes, but we both don't post a lot overall. We don't feel the obligation to post each other. We don't think that the amount of times we post each other is conducive to how much we are committed to each other or how much we love each other. And we've also drawn that boundary between, our privacy in our relationship. There are many times where you can tell when someone's mad at each other in a fight when they've broken up. Nobody really knows what goes on in my relationship unless, me or my partner tell, whoever we choose to tell. And I think that the lines can get blurred if we don't have that boundary established. But again, within ourselves, like each other, we know the commitment and love that we have.
So the next segment is called The Marketplace of Love. The prompt is that we're not dating people, we're shopping for them.
Yes.
Ego, what do you think?
I am a non-dater.
Oh.
So I'm a consumer of the marketplace, I guess, but I'm not a participant, an active part. I'm an onlooker of what happens in the marketplace.
Okay.
I'm using your words, but yeah, I'm not an active participant. So it's entertaining to watch.
Wait, I
for
actually
sure.
do want to ask, how many of you are in relationships? Okay,
No, it's
so
like
we have
half
an
and half.
even amount.
Yeah.
And then the rest of you are single by choice or...
I've never been in a relationship.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
never been in a relationship? What about you, Ego?
Same.
Same?
Yeah.
And
I'm
Chizzy?
single by choice and default.
Okay. Okay.
More default than choice, but yeah.
So what do you think about that, Chizzy, in terms of we're not dating people, we're shopping for them? Do you use dating apps?
Very, what is the word? Okay.
Begrudgingly.
Okay. Anyway. No. Well, yes, sometimes, but I don't like dating apps. But it's also because, like, for me, it's very overwhelming. And I'm already, like, the worst texter in the world. So I feel like dating apps is kind of like another level of texting that I just cannot keep up with. But I actually recently downloaded it again and tried. And the way I went about it was, okay, I need to get off the app as quick as possible. So, like, whoever wants to, like, actually come forward, take me out, cool. Because I'm not staying on this app because I can't keep up with the conversation. So, but I do think, in a sense, we kind of are shopping for people. I think social media has made it where, like, there's this, like, grass is greener effect.
Yeah.
We always think there's something better out there. So if somebody does, like, one thing wrong or, like, they're not the height that we want, we're just like, next. So, yeah.
Okay. And Vara, how did you come to be in the relationship you're in now? Was it like, did you guys meet over social media? Like, was it an app? You know?
No, I've never been in a dating app. Never
Okay.
even downloaded one. I think the only app I tried was Bumble BFF.
Okay.
When I first moved. Because I was like, I work remote. Like, how do I even really meet people? Having a job that's based out of state. I really disliked it. And I think like 2 months in, I like quit it. I met my boyfriend in college.
Okay.
So kind of traditional. And
Traditional. Yeah, I like that.
I think like a lot of people meet into their high school or college, not for the most part, but I think it happens a lot. So that's how we met in person, literally like bumped to each other. So
Old school.
Proximity.
Human connection.
very much so, yeah. And it evolved from there. It was never based on social media. We were there on campus. So we had that like foundation, I guess. But I do agree that because I've heard that, like, I was hanging out with a friend and she was like, how have you been together for so long? Like, don't you think that there's something better out there? And I'm like, no, because I can't think like that. There's always going to be someone better, someone taller, more handsome, like more professional, that makes more money, that drives better cars, like whatever qualifications you want to add, there's always, for me too, not just like me looking at another guy, but him for other girls, like there's always going to be someone better. You can't really measure it, or you shouldn't really measure it by that, in my opinion. So, yeah.
And Joa, how did you meet your partner?
So it was also college based. It was so my partner's best friend is my freshman year roommate's girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
So my freshman year roommate's girlfriend is my girlfriend's best friend.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Sorry.
And they set us up. Basically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, that's another great
Are they
connection.
still together?
Yeah, they're married. They just had their first kid a while ago.
Congrats to them.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, I didn't do
beautiful.
anything.
And Charlotte, would you say that we're not dating people, but we're like in fact shopping for them?
I would say yes and no. Me personally, no. I have downloaded the app, but I've never been on the app. But also, I do have a best friend who her first and only Hinge match she is married to.
Oh, wow.
So I see positive examples, and I know a lot of people have found their one because they're intentional when they are on the app. I hate it because like energy is really real to me, like, and also pictures are deceiving. And honestly, in New York City, I get asked out a lot. Like, so in person is fine with me. But it definitely is transactional when you're only liking someone based on that, on the looks, because I definitely X immediately. If I don't like the first picture, I don't even go through. I go X, 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 like, you know what I mean? So I would definitely say it's a mixture of both and there's nuance to it.
Okay. And then out of everyone here, raise your hand if you've ever been in love.
With a real person?
Oh, true. Also,
Wait.
is it reciprocal?
We got to get back on that.
Hold on.
No, I mean, have you ever been in love? Whatever you felt like that love was, have you ever been in love?
I feel like no.
No?
No.
Wait, I didn't see the show of hands, sorry. Love, love, love? Pinky? Chizzy.
I would consider it like puppy love. Like, I don't know if it was like real
It was in youth.
love. Yeah, it was like youth.
Okay. For my singles, is the goal to find love like at your current point in life that you're in right now, or is it not of importance?
I'm all for the 4B movement of
The what movement?
The 4B.
the 4B,
Okay,
the
I'm
4B
with you.
movement
Love it.
I'm
of
with you.
women decentering men completely until we get our rights back in the United States.
What's the 4B?
B4.
4B.
4B?
Right?
4B.
Yeah, I think it actually is Korean.
It is, yeah.
And
it
the
started
B's
there.
stand for something.
It's like birth. It's all the, I don't remember exactly what the B's stand for,
Yeah.
but it's basically like women withholding sex and marriage and childbirth and all the
Relationship.
traditional
and even friendships.
and
in
like all the
Korea.
traditional roles that they would fill in a person's life. They're deciding
Yeah.
not until yeah.
Not until we have, but that's because in Korea they,
You can see your point. I just wanted to clarify.
to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I as a person do not, and since I was young, center romantic love. So I've never really dated a lot. Like I can probably count the amount of dates I've been on. No, that's not the goal. I'm very also career oriented, which could be a thing. I really like what I do, and it's hard to find someone that I like as much as what I love to do in my life in the entertainment industry, you know?
Yeah.
So that is not my goal personally. But I like attention from somebody.
Who doesn't?
Don't we all?
I mean,
saying.
it can be a goal, not the goal. You
It's
know, like
not
you could
right
still
now.
want it eventually,
Yeah.
but not like
Yeah.
the main call.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
Driver.
open. It's not like where I was like a few years ago, actually last year, like completely because I was healing from something where I was like, I'm not intentionally not dating. But right
Yes.
now, I am like, I've been asked out and I'm gonna hit those dates. But like, I am very much like, if you need to get over a person, call me. Like, you should love yourself and be your own person first. So.
And Ego, you had said something very interesting before
What did I say?
in response to the question of have you ever been in love? And you said with a person.
Oh, like with a real person and not like a fictional person. It was kind of a joke, but I don't know if it is in some people's cases. But no, I haven't. I haven't. No.
Can I ask who you were thinking of?
Yeah.
Fictional?
Yeah.
I can't say that. Who's going to watch this? You know what? They're not going to watch. It's Theo James.
I knew it.
Doesn't it make sense?
The white boy?
Yes.
British
Well,
boy.
let's not.
He's not really
But yes.
white, but yeah, I knew you would say that.
Who's Theo James?
I know exactly
He's
who
an
that
actor.
is.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
Slay.
I have
Thank you.
another question for the room. Is having a physical type shallow?
No.
No, yeah, technically it's vain, but I don't judge it.
Chizzy, you said no.
Yeah, no. I mean, it shouldn't be the end all be all.
Yeah.
But I do think like it's important to be attracted to your partner. So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you need to physically like what you see.
Yeah, I think it's shallow when you're like, I will only be open for XYZ, you know,
Yeah.
type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're not
But
even.
is that what having a type is?
I was just about to say, because like having a physical type does not mean there's some people who
What's going too
not-
far?
well, God, objectively, I am not attracted to pretty boys. I'm the opposite. So exactly, how you're the opposite. So like, so having a physical type does not always mean you want someone who is like stereotypically attractive. A physical type sometimes is just a type, and you would be shocked at what some people's physical type is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't always like mean attractive. It just means that like you like a certain look.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
versus
And
like
it's-
going out for a specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
also,
cutting off the opportunity for anything else.
but like how much of it is based on how we grew up, and because we have that, it may block us from what we actually need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
prejudices.
interesting.
Yes.
Like my best friend, I'll bring that in, who's married to her partner, she literally just wrote down everything she wanted in a person and didn't really have a type, but she literally said, I'm just really not into tall, blonde, blue-eyed people. I'm just not it. That's who she's actually married to, because he has, it's hilarious, but he has everything that she wrote down.
Yeah.
But I think she just opened up. She's like, well, he has that. And you know what? I am into that. But so she didn't block it off. But that is what she said. She said, I'm not really into the blondies.
Yeah.
That she's married to a blondie, blue-eyed, tall man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But what
Isn't
she
that
wrote
crazy?
down, was it qualities?
It was qualities. Like, they
Not
had to
physical
read,
attributes,
smart,
yes.
work out. Like, he's
Yeah.
literally everything she wrote down. Yeah.
What would you say is the difference between physical type and preference?
That's a good
I
question.
don't believe in preferences. I think it's made up.
Please elaborate.
Like, I didn't even answer your question, though, unfortunately. What was the question again?
What do you think is the difference between physical type and preference?
I'm not sure there is a difference, actually, because I think physical type and preference go hand in hand, especially when it comes to, like, race. You know what I mean? Which I think that is made up. I don't think people really prefer a type of race or that, or tall, short. I think it's literally society in our head and how we're raised. I don't think there is a difference between physical type and preference.
Because you will hear people say like, "Oh, I would never date, a specific race of a person.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd never date a black girl, or
Yeah.
I'd never date a white guy."
Yeah.
You know?
I think preference also goes beyond physical. I think that's what makes it different. So like a physical
you're
type
right.
is like the physical type, and then preference could be like, maybe I want someone that speaks several languages or that lives a
Okay.
certain lifestyle. So I think that's
Oh, you're
the
right.
difference.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say, Joa, that your partner kind of checked off your boxes in terms of physical type when you guys started dating, or that wasn't something that was like of importance to you?
I don't think I have a super strong physical type. I've generally, for most of my life, didn't do a lot of dating or relationship stuff. So I don't think I was ever really looking for like a super specific type or person. I'd say she checks all the boxes that are important to me. And I think when you're looking for a partner, you really just have to prioritize like, what are those really essential things? Because it's not shallow to want someone to look a certain way or to want like be attracted to a certain type of person. But it is shallow when you decide that's the most important thing and you're not going to look beyond that. And if that box isn't checked, then you're not even going to see if they check the others, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. Chizzy, what about you? Would you say that we're finding love, or are we just finding options?
Well, I think it depends on the person. Now, I do have some pretty strong views about like, okay, for example, I feel like African men, go easy on me now, but like, I feel like African men, especially, so I'm Nigerian, I'm of Nigerian descent, and I find that sometimes like when they hit like a certain age range, maybe like 35, like all of a sudden, maybe all of their friends are getting married. So now they're looking to get married. And it's like, whoever fits the bill of like what they're looking for at that moment, that's who they're gonna choose. So in that scenario, I feel like they're finding options versus finding love. Now, do other people do that too? Possibly, I wouldn't know. Like, but for me, I feel like I'm looking for like love and options too, because it's like, it gotta blend. Because you can have love, but if the lifestyle doesn't match or like the goals that you guys like both have, if they're not aligned, it's not really gonna make sense, right? So you do have to find somebody that kind of fits what you're trying to look for. I don't know.
Michael, do you want to add on to that?
No.
Okay. I do want to ask you though, is real love still possible in the age of swiping? Because you did say you're in love.
Yeah, I think that real love is possible in the age of swiping. I don't swipe, so I mean, good luck to you swipers out there.
My bestie.
I mean, there are known people.
My best friend.
That,
Yeah.
like your
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah,
You know, there are
yeah.
many
They
people that
have
have.
those
found it.
stories. What they say, like 1 in every 560,000 people, or something like that. Oh, that's not real.
That's a lot.
I was like, is that the real statistic?
Yeah, and I want to go on record and say, like, I'm not a dater, but I am a romantic. I love observing.
Well, I
love.
was actually gonna ask you though.
Yeah.
So when you say you're not partaking, but you're an onlooker, like what does that mean?
Yeah, it means I engage with people
Okay.
that are in relationships, people that are actively dating. You can't avoid them. They're like we're all
You
like living.
experience others' love, but
Yes.
don't
yeah.
personally experience it for
But
yourself.
personally, no. And I think if you've gone that way, like for a long time, it almost feels otherworldly that's the impression I get from how other people respond to that fact about me. It feels like, oh my God, like how have you gone 2-3 decades now, if I'm counting correctly, without like being in a relationship or anything. I'm like, I think it's stranger to other people than it is to me. It just feels like I'm living.
Wait, I'm trying to understand something. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm doing the reaction thing.
No.
But no, wait. So are you saying like you don't date at all and you don't ever plan on dating? You want to be single for the rest of your life? Is that what you're saying?
I don't plan on being single for the rest of my life, but I'm also not planning not to. But like
So it's just not a thought, really.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It absolutely isn't. And that's like the easiest way I can say it without like
Okay.
like trying to give it qualifications or anything. It's just
But you're attracted to people.
very, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm attracted to people, but like at least for people who are dating intentionally, there is some thought behind it.
Yeah.
Because like they maybe want their life to, and not like in a bad way, but like you want a partner, you want your life to look a certain way.
Yes.
The happiest version of my life in my head has never included anybody else. So I'm not like opposed to it, but I'm also not like walking through life hoping it'll happen.
Yeah.
If you know,
That's me too, actually.
thank you. It's
No,
not.
that's gorgeous.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, because it's like
Yeah.
you have less expectations low-key
Yeah.
out of like life and
Yeah,
partnership,
yeah.
which sometimes you don't even have control over things like that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So like people say if it happens, it happens. But in my case, it's actually is like if it happens, then it happens.
Okay.
But it's not a. I don't know. I've never. There's no picture in my. There's never been a picture in my mind where.
Like, you're not waiting for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
me too.
I waited for a long time to see if it would kick in. I really thought like, but maybe by the time I hit a certain age, I would get the urge. I was hoping so that, because you don't want to feel, nobody like wants to go through like feeling like outlierish.
Yeah.
But at some point it is what it is. So yeah.
Interesting.
I love that. Okay, so we're gonna switch over to money and value. The prompt is that money matters more than love. And I'd actually like to direct this question to Chizzy.
Why you gotta
Because you mentioned Nigerian men, and I just feel like that's like kind of on trend for you, you know?
Oh no.
I broke up with someone I genuinely loved because we couldn't afford the same life. Rent was real, bills were real, love wasn't paying for dinner. Chizzy, your thoughts?
I mean, she said it, like love wasn't paid for dinner. I mean, I think it's really layered, but it's also very simple, right? Like sometimes money affects a lot. Money affects lifestyle, money affects like how people think and perceive and like show up in the world sometimes. And if you guys aren't on the same page about money, even just like financial literacy, I think, isn't money like one of the top reasons why people get divorced?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
It is.
Yeah, like, so even just like money management, it's a huge aspect of a relationship. So not that like it's about somebody making a certain amount. I just think you guys need to have the same values when it comes to money. Yeah.
Joa?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Chizzy. I think it's complicated because I feel like the lead-in story, right, for that question, the implication is kind of that the other person wasn't providing in some way. And I think the problem with viewing it like that is that the whole relationship becomes unequal.
Yeah.
If you're looking for someone else to provide you a certain kind of lifestyle, then from the start, you're not looking for love, really. You're looking for that lifestyle, which is fine. And, you'll be able to find someone who can fulfill that role. But I think if the question is like, what's more important, money or love? It's a case by case. It's what does that person want from their life? Do they want a loving relationship, or would they prefer a certain kind of lifestyle? And is that the priority?
Do you think that social media kind of pushes the lifestyle of relationships to where people desire it looking a certain way versus actually having genuine love?
90%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially because Love Island, probably, right? I don't even watch.
I don't watch, so I don't know.
So to be clear, does that mean that you feel like as a man, you should, if you're taking a woman out, maybe on the first date, you should be paying for something like that?
On the first date, if I ask you out, yes, I should be paying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got opposing views.
Oh, you would like to pay? I mean, if you want to
No,
pay, I
no,
will
I just think gender norms are weird, and I think that's probably a question in there. Whoever asks the person out should pay because
That's what I'm saying. If I
it's
ask you
just-
out,
yeah.
you know, I should pay.
But if the girl asks you out, what do you think? You can
I'm still
pay
going to
too?
offer to pay.
Okay, yeah, I
But
think
if you
so.
say, oh, no, please,
I
my
call it
treat,
gender reparations. That's the only way. That's the only reason why.
the woman might not like that.
I'm crying.
The reparation.
Joe,
It
do you
is.
agree?
No, 100% disagree, but you know.
Right?
No, I disagree.
We're on the same page. No.
No, I think
Oh.
I think it should be split in most cases.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh,
Could you respect your partner if they made more or less money than you?
Yes.
Vara?
Yes.
Yes? So if they made more
Or if they made less.
or if they made less, significantly less?
Yeah.
You'd
It
be
depends.
okay?
You know, it's not necessarily a blank yes or no. You know, it's very circumstantial.
What would be the circumstance where less would be okay?
If it's in no part their fault. You know, like if I see continuous trying to find a better job, to save more, and you know, it's outside of their control, I don't think it would be fair to put the blame on them. And I would hope that would be reciprocal to me as well. And, you know, when you enter a relationship, finances is a big topic, especially the more serious you go or the longer, you know, you're with this person and trying to build a life together. It's always going to be involved, and it is a big topic. So it's definitely very important to be on the same page. I don't necessarily think that should be the, like, making different salaries should be the end all, start all.
Yeah.
Joe, how do you feel about that?
I think it goes back to what Chizzy said about it's about having the same values about money and what you prioritize in your life. If like your vision of your future and the things you really want in life, the direction in your life is centered around comfort and financial stability and security, then you need to find someone who aligns with that vision. You know, it's more about, I don't think it really has to do with money specifically. It has to do with what you want from your future.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's even to do with respect. It's not that like you respect someone more because they have more money or respect them less because they have less. You could still respect them, but just feel like, okay, clearly what you want from life, you have a different focus. You're not concerned about the material and the comfort.
Misalignment. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's like, it's not that I don't respect you. It's just that clearly we want to move in different directions.
Yeah, but even if we are moving in the same direction and I make more, it doesn't mean like I'm gonna look down on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you know you make more or you make less. It varies.
It's just clearly we are not, like, eventually this is going to become a problem.
yeah.
So either we talk about it now and find a way to compromise, or we decide to go our separate ways.
Or make the steps too. You know, yeah, like you said.
Okay.
Purely, sorry.
No, continue.
Purely as an observer, obviously. What I've noticed is a bigger issue is the lack of like personal honesty. Some people don't actually want to be clear because it sounds bad to say
Yeah.
money does. I'm so sorry, not me, but I'm like in quotes, whoever it is, like I'm sorry, like money matters to me. Like I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
But those like not admitting that to yourself is one. Because if you're not admitting it to yourself, you can't admit it to someone, to the other person, and then people find ways of like communicating around the issue, so other like things start getting hit. You know, like how the person is acting, how the person is reacting. Like there are many things that get hit because like they don't want to say, I want to be comfortable, and it sounds bad that like loving you is not enough. It's like it sounds terrible to say. You know, yeah.
For a question for the ladies, could you be with a partner that provided you the lifestyle and had the money, but you weren't necessarily genuinely in love with them? Like, could you stay with them just for the money?
I don't think so.
If
That's a tough
my
one.
mind went crazy. If I could have a side baddie or person, yeah. If they're like a billionaire or something, That's my answer. But yeah,
So when you
I don't mind that.
But when you say they don't have the love, like what does that mean? Does that mean you're not attracted to the person?
Like Hugh Hefner.
Does that mean
You don't have a genuine love connection with them. You may care about them, but you don't have genuine, authentic love. But they provide you with the life that you
like
want.
romantic love?
Sure.
I think I'm too much of a
I think
romantic to be
I think
like,
I could do
not
that,
feeling
actually.
that.
Sometimes I'm
I
like,
think
I don't
could
know.
do that. I think I could. I wouldn't
think I
prefer
could.
that.
But
But if I'm in Italy,
but you respect them? Y'all get along?
You guys respect each other. It's evident that their love isn't the basis of the relationship. It's more so money is.
Like
You're
a
saying they're
convenience?
friends?
it's like, could it be like besties?
Because,
Could I
like,
marry my bestie
my
and
best
then
Enjoy
friends.
friends.
We're
Like a
friends.
convenience?
I enjoy
No, I
friendship.
think the thing is like it seems like because you guys are asking like clarifying questions.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult for me to picture a relationship where like it's not the love isn't like God the
Like the
different types
center
of
of the
it's not like eros love where
Yeah.
like you love the person passionately, but there is some form of love there. But that love is it's not that difficult for me to
I feel like that's a lot of relationships. and
Exactly,
marriages.
exactly. I was thinking along the same lines. I'm like, that is a lot of.
that would be that person's
Statistically,
value,
I think most of the more functional relationships are actually leaning more
Yeah.
in that direction than the ones that are like, I guess, like fully passionate and
Because love doesn't pay the bills.
well,
How do you feel about that?
theoretically,
That's so
fully
interesting,
theoretically, I'm a romantic. I just the data, even though my data right now is like anecdotal, the data isn't showing that romantic love is what is sustaining most unions. Sometimes the most because when there isn't all of that, I don't want to call it because it doesn't make things unclear, but it does make things a little hazy when it comes to like having practical discussions. So sometimes not having that like, "Oh, I love the person, I don't want to hurt their feelings. It leads to like back to like being honest in a relationship. Sometimes like having a more practical view, it makes it easier for you to like sit and discuss like what you want your life to look like with the person, but not quite in a way because it sounds like what you're describing. There is like love there. It's not like fully. It's not just for money.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like for the people who are there just for money, where like there's no passionate like romantic love, it can be more stable than Not everybody doesn't need like all relationships don't need.
So it's a question, can you
That.
do it?
Can I do
Yeah,
it?
can you stay
Probably
with
not.
someone-
Long term? I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
I don't know either.
my
I don't think
romantic and practical side will win. So I don't know if it's like sustainable long term, but short term, if I'm in Italy, like you said.
exactly short term possibly.
Yeah.
If someone loves you but can't provide, do you stay?
No.
Chizzy said no.
I say yeah.
Why? Why did you say no?
Well, I guess being financially like, wait, when you say provide,
Definition of which
what does that mean?
financially or provide in all like your preference.
I feel like it's up to interpretation.
Okay.
What you would be, comfortable with. Like, would you be comfortable with both of you contributing and that being their form of providing, or would you want someone to fully provide?
Yeah, no. I'm comfortable with both of us contributing. That's how I grew up, and I feel like that's the most economical type of situation. Now, do I want him to do like romantic, elaborate stuff sometimes? Maybe when we go out, he's paying for dinners, of course. But like, in terms of like actual household management, no, I believe in contribution. So in that retrospect, if he wasn't able to like contribute, then no, I wouldn't be able to stay with them. Yeah.
Okay. And you said yes.
Yeah.
Why'd
Just
you say
because
that,
I
Charlotte?
plan on being independent on my own. So my values are, if they are the type of person that I want to be with, then I don't mind. But again, I'm an artist, so it's like, good luck at me.
Yeah.
But I just prefer, at this moment in time, because I could change. Because being without money is really giving help.
So
It
I was
really
actually
is.
going to say that because I feel like for me, I'm an only daughter,
Yeah.
and like I'm pretty independent, and like being independent is exhausting. Like I don't want to be
You're so
independent my
right.
whole life and always think
don't
about like
mind.
just like taking care of myself financially, and then like family on top of it. Like I need some
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe, what do you think
in the
about
middle.
that in terms of if someone loves you but can't provide? Whether
Or-
it's 50-50 or...
Are we reverse? Is this just any partner?
Yeah.
So I think the problem is I think if someone isn't trying to provide for themselves and do more, I think that's a bigger problem than the actual finances. I think it's more a matter of like, is this person working for themselves? If not, then I don't like I think that's more of a personality thing than it is
Yeah.
a financial aspect. Because if you meet, some, Elon Musk's 16th kid and he's got all the money in the world, but he doesn't do anything all day, or she,
True.
that's not someone that's going to be interesting or exciting.
Yeah.
You want someone who is self-driven and working for themselves. And if they're doing that, then, regardless of how much money they're making from that, they should be able to make enough money to at least support themselves and hopefully occasionally do some fun stuff as well. So for me, it's much more a personality thing than an actual finances issue.
Okay.
I think I half agree with that. I don't think that's like, it's not a modern notion. What is a modern notion is we're having a lot of those like mixed conversations. I don't even think that's a bad thing. I think if we're living in the world that we're living now, it's a conversation that was bound to happen. It's just, things just aren't as clear anymore. And we're sitting there in this like collected kind of controlled environment where we're talking about like capitalism as one part of the Venn diagram. And then we have like love and, pooling resources versus like because marrying someone who is well joined, even if you create a well-oiled machine, right? Down the line, there's no guarantee that the person is going to consistently be able to, continue that. So again, like people have to be more honest about what they want. It's hard and it's not, like we're talking about it openly because we're like letting each other, it feels like thoughts are pouring out. That in most relationships, that is, well, at least for me, that's not what it feels like it's happening. Because when you like hear two people who are either in the relationship or we're in the relationship, talking about the relationship, as an onlooker, you get confused a little. I'm like, I mean, this feels like something you should have talked about before together, but like it is, like easier said than, especially when there are feelings involved and all of that. But I've seen enough of both. I've seen people who honestly are like where the gender norms are like kind of flipped on its head, at least for a time, where the man isn't earning as much, and it's not that big. It's not a huge topic of conversation. Like it happens a lot. Part of the reason why it feels like this huge thing is social media, right? The way we're having the conversation about social media removes like humanity from the conversation. It becomes like a checkerboard thing where like this person has this, but it's very rarely like clean cut like that. But I don't know. That's subconsciously, maybe that's why it just feels like it would be easier for me to like who wants to deal with this? And no offense to the daters. It's not like off-putting. Yeah, no, it's not off-putting to me because I have more than enough evidence for like how like real good relationships work out. I see it happen all the time. It doesn't. It feels like most people don't think it happens all the time, but like it happens. There are people who are dating in like relationships that are financially like this before things kind of level up. But it's not a modern notion. I think that's the point I was trying to make. It's
I love that a couple of you, well, my single ladies, have touched on love versus independence, because that's actually our next topic. Ego actually said most people in relationships should be single.
I said that?
Yes. So the prompt is, we don't fall in love anymore, we negotiate it. And I'd like Ego to start and just kind of explain her statement.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure when I made that statement, that was the romantic part of my brain talking like, if you're going to fall in love, I would want to fall in love, which just feels like it feels very light and airy and fairy. That's how it functions in my head. So if I'm not going to do that, I don't want to it almost feels like it spoils the conversation for me. Now, I've met people who are like more well adjusted than I am, who are able to balance both. And part of it, I think it's luck. I think a lot of people forget that finding
really
someone
is.
that you love and then are like financially compatible with, and all the other things. A part of it is luck. There are people who like try to strategize their way, dating coaches and things. If I could make money teaching people how to do it, honestly, I would have. It's a huge, I almost said untapped market, but it's not an untapped market, but it's a huge market, right? But part of it is luck, but it's just, when most of the people who are in relationships, when I hear them talk, I'm like, it doesn't feel like you love the person that you're talking about, even when the person doesn't exist yet. It feels like, yeah. And I'm not saying that to like shame people for that, because you should want what you want. It's not your fault that you want a comfortable life. I don't think, So, but I'm like, maybe you shouldn't be dating, especially if you have these set expectations for what you want your relationship to feel like. Sometimes I think like you can want a relationship that feels the way what you're describing, and then want the person to like have all these true practical boxes ticked. It almost feels like you can have it all, and I'm not even sure that I believe that you can have it all. I just think you should be willing to accept that it might take you a lot longer if you want it all. Maybe you can't want it all right now.
Joa, what do you think about what Ego just said? And in terms of we don't fall in love anymore, we negotiate it.
Yeah. I don't think, unless I'm misunderstanding the question, I don't think there's anything wrong with negotiating love. Falling in love is almost always the quickest part of a relationship. It happens fast. Within the first few months, maybe you lose that feeling of quote unquote falling in love. That's like getting to know a new person. That's discovering all these new things and showing them your favorite things. And then like that is all the excitement. But I think long-term relationships, this is why people say like you have to work at a relationship.
Yeah.
That negotiating isn't like two business heads across the table shouting at each other. That's you and your partner discussing openly like, hey, this is what I really want. This is what I think our relationship should look like. And hearing out their side and trying to find something in the middle. I think that negotiation is in healthy long-term relationships essential.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a negative thing at all, whether you're talking about finances or comfort or what you want your life to look like, or if one person wants to quit their job, whatever it is. Negotiation is just a complicated word for a discussion where people come to a compromise at the end.
I like that.
Vara, I saw you nodding your head in agreement. Do you feel like that's true?
Yeah.
You've been in a long relationship.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like you said, I feel like it's very easy to fall those first few months, but like I mentioned before, as a relationship evolves, if it becomes more serious, that's when you need to have what some people consider, the uncomfortable conversations about what you want for yourself, if you're heading in the right direction, and kind of, for lack of a better word, negotiating how to get there.
Okay.
Well, also, if you don't negotiate in the beginning, you're going to negotiate after the divorce
Yeah, it's
anyways.
gonna come up.
Yeah.
Like these conversations
Somehow.
happen some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sticking on the topic of love and independence, do you believe that relationships require you to sacrifice a part of yourself or your independence? I'd like to start with Vara.
Can you repeat the question? Let me process it.
Do you believe that relationships require you to sacrifice a part of yourself or your independence?
I would like to believe that a healthy relationship wouldn't. I can see how you can fall into it. Speaking from experience, I think there was a part of my life where I didn't have a lot going on personally, and so I attached myself more to my relationship. And I'm grateful because the kind of partner that I have encouraged me. During that period in my life where I didn't have a lot going on personally, it was COVID, working from home, I didn't do anything, go anywhere. I lost, I don't want to say a little bit of myself or my independence, but there was something missing. And so I attached myself a little bit more to my relationship. And I'm grateful that I have the kind of partner who would encourage me to seek out that independence. He's never been controlling, possessive, jealous. He's always been like, you go do your thing. You go have your own money. You do the career that you want. Hang out with you want. And so that's always something that I've really, really valued, because especially hearing other people in relationships, I thought it was a common theme, but it's not. And so that just made me appreciate that aspect of my relationship more. And now, especially, I'm in a place where I am fully independent. I am fully my own person apart from my relationship. But the relationship is just another component in my life that I love to have and I'm grateful for. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I think you would have to sacrifice your independence just based on I've never been in a relationship. So to then go into a relationship where I suspect that when you are in a relationship, you do have to consider the other person. So independent in my eye, I'm not considering anybody. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go to Jamaica next month. I'm not going to ask anybody, but I would in a relationship have to check in with your partner. You can't just not tell them what you're doing. That's just from the outside perspective. I've never been in a relationship, but so it would to me be sacrificing that complete independence of who I am right now. That is technically what you are. And if you live together too, like that's crazy. Like you are not alone. So you really are connecting and combining your life with somebody. That is what a partnership is. That's what the definition of a partnership is.
I like the way they phrase it. I think communication is always very important in relationships. But I don't ask my boyfriend for things. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this on this date. I'm like, do you want to come? Depending on the situation.
How long have you been in a relationship?
Too.
10 years.
Okay. So, congratulations. Sorry, my brain went like...
It's been an evolving thing, you know, like because we were so young when we met, the dynamic has shifted and we have both matured and now we're in that place.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, I still hold that it was never possessive or controlling or anything like that.
For sure.
It's just more mature. I get where you're coming from though. I just see it a little different because I have my own life apart from the relationship, but I can definitely see.
I think even just like the concept of, so as someone that I've been in relationships, but I've also been single also for like long periods of time, probably more time single than in relationships. So I think when you're on that side of the spectrum versus maybe you've been in a long-term relationship for like many, many years, there is a difference. Like you can, like from your perspective, you can tell, like, you know that there is a level of sacrifice of your freedom that you'd be giving up because you've been single for so long, right? Independent for so long versus as somebody in a relationship, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you've adapted to that. So it's almost like, it's not to say that you don't have freedom and sense of self.
It's
more like, it's a different type of freedom that like somebody that's single doesn't have. So there's a big difference. Does that make sense?
That makes so much
two
sense.
different versions of
what it is.
and what that looks like.
So it's like for me, like when I think about being in a relationship and like eventually, getting married, maybe having children, like I already know that there would be a sense of sacrifice for who I am now versus like that. I mean, who I'd be in a relationship because I'm never going to have this time again. I'm never going to just like not need someone, like not have someone need me all the time. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I like the difference that you make. And I think I see it, of course, being in a relationship for so long, because I've also seen girls who get lost fully in their relationship. Like, my hobbies become
absolutely
his hobbies. My friends are his friends. And it's like so integrated and you don't have that self. For me, it was, looking back, like I'm very grateful that I was able to make that distinction.
That's great.
But you make a great point for sure. It's not going to be the same.
Michelle Obama once said there was 10 years when I couldn't stand my husband. Ego, you would like to start?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because somewhere in between the both of you talking, that was the exact thing that came to mind. I was thinking, I'm like, even in the most functional relationships, I don't think, unless we want to change what the word independence means, you can change the definition all you want, but like obviously there's some people in relationships that are more codependent than others. But I don't think you're like
So would you say, is it normal to have a point in a relationship where the love feels dry?
Yes.
I don't think a relationship
ebb
is
and
linear.
flow.
I think it fluctuates.
Yeah.
And that's why the
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
comes like, oh, I can love you but not like you right now,
Yeah.
even in specific moments or situations.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't even apply to, because my expertise is clearly platonic relationships. So even in platonic relationships, things still like ebb and flow. I would not imagine. It would be hard to picture unless it's an Emily Henry book. And even those characters ebb and flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like most relationships, I would imagine go through like phases where like I don't know. It's like you said. I think you made a point where like it's not going to be like passionate all the time. So if passion is the only thing keeping it going, it's like to expire quickly.
So, Joa, is it normal to have a point in a relationship where the love feels dry?
I would say so. I think any relationship, romantic, platonic, anything, you're never gonna always be, at the same level of excitement, right? Especially the more time you spend with someone, especially like I live with my girlfriend, you're spending so much time together. You see each other at different energy levels and different amounts of excitement.
Yeah.
But I think a healthy relationship is when that lack of love starts to feel like too big a problem, or if you really don't feel any passion, is, the work of the relationship is finding a way to respark that and find new ways to connect to each other. And, that's, I think, the exciting part of the relationship is that you get to spend,
Reconnecting.
time over and over again, finding new ways to connect with this person, even if you think you know everything about them.
Yeah. Or, as I like to say, figuring out whether it is time to end the relationship. It feels like something like it's so taboo to say, but sometimes an end is,
It's like you're on a crossroads.
well, an end is just like, it's not as, it's not like the worst thing that could happen. Sometimes for certain relationships,
It's what's needed.
it's what's necessary. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Assuming none of you have been married before, which I don't think you have, what do you think marriage entails? Chizzy?
I think marriage entails love, communication, partnership, a lot of compromise, I would assume. And just like spending a lot of time together, like working towards shared goals.
What about for you, Michael? What do you think marriage entails?
Marriage is a big thing. I think that a lot of people that decide to take that step and go into that are choosing another level of dedication to one another. And I think that's really the word, dedication, for a working marriage, for like people that truly love each other. That's like, it's a dedication to like always have each other's back and keep that up. But like beyond just being like together, like now it's contractual. Now the law is involved, now there are other things like that are integrated into that relationship than just two people deciding that they love each other.
I have a little anecdote, actually. Ego once said, marriage should come with an expiration date or at least a renewal clause. Do you agree that love should have some sort of term? Should marriage be X amount of years in a contract or indefinite? And you can
Can we
think
ask
about it.
Ego to elaborate on that before we answer?
I'd love for Ego to elaborate,
I mean,
actually.
I think my point makes perfect sense. I think most marriages would fare better if the couple, after 10 years, if they issue a 10-year marriage license, and after 10 years you have to sit with the person and decide whether or not you want to go into the next 10 years together. I think, because otherwise some people won't do it. I think it is necessary. A check-in, I can't imagine, like it wouldn't hurt.
I think, that's a very interesting viewpoint. I actually have never heard that. But the idea of, I guess, not having to do forever, but instead a certain amount of years.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joa?
I think, like you said, like healthy relationships do some version of that anyways. It's just a matter of like enforcing it so that everyone who's,
Yeah.
getting the big wedding and buying out a church needs to agree to that as well. But I don't think a marriage is based necessarily just on love. I think it's based on agreeing together that like, okay, first of all, you're no longer even considering breaking up or looking for other options. Like the agreement to marriage is like, okay, that part of my life of like trying to find a person, I've decided it's you. And then on top of that, it's continuing to communicate and deciding like, okay, whatever happens in this union, we're going to at least try our hardest to work it out together. And I think that's kind of the commitment you have to make. And I think checking in every 10 years is essential to that. Checking in every day.
Yeah.
Constantly. It should just always be a conversation.
Yeah.
How about Charlotte? What do you think of that? Being a X amount of years contract versus indefinite.
Yes, definitely, because I think we as humans change a lot. But I agree with what everyone says. In order to get to that 10-year mark, you're hopefully growing together intentionally anyway. So by the time you're there, we already know what's up because you're already taking those steps weekly, monthly, daily in order to get that. I think that's actually a very good idea. So then it's not so much like pressure.
Do you think you lose out on anything with knowing that it'll eventually come to an end as opposed to being indefinite?
It can always come to an end.
Right.
Everyone knows any moment
That
it
was
can,
exactly
it can
my point.
end.
I'm
Yeah.
like, it's
At least
not-
making
yeah.
it official, like, all right, then we have this much time to work on it and think about it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Vara, you've been making some little faces over there. What do you
She's
think
10
about?
years.
Well, she's at
10
her
years.
first decade. So.
Would you renew?
Yes, I think we just had that conversation. And I do those check-ins, like, and I don't think we plan them out. I think like we're cooking and the other's doing dishes and the conversations just kind of come up and we start and we're like, the other day he randomly asked me, he's like, oh, like, by what age do you think you want this? And I'm like, oh, okay, let me think about it. And then that sparked, it was a random question, but that sparked a conversation of like, do we still see each other going the same direction? Do we still want the same things, the same goals? Like, oh, okay. And even not just like the bigger goals, like just smaller ones. Like, do we track for this thing that we want to achieve in the shorter term? Yeah. I don't think I've ever really considered it in the way that Ego phrased it, but I can see where the concept is coming from. And how necessary it is to not just assume that because I've been with this person for so long, I know where they stand. Because people change, humans change. So I do think it's important to continuously have those conversations, more serious than others, right? It depends, to make sure that we are on the same path and working towards it and what steps we're taking. Or like, if you feel like the other person needs to put in maybe more effort or vice versa, like, I think it's just... Relationships are a continuous conversation, compromise, and commitment.
I have one caveat question. Okay. So we're talking a lot about like marriage being like such a major commitment.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing a lot of people have kids outside of marriage. And I feel like these days it almost seems like people think kids are less of a commitment than an actual marriage with someone.
That's
So
crazy.
I want to know y'all thoughts on that because I think that's crazy.
If
That's
it's
a
up
great
to
question.
me, I would be married before having kids, and it's something that I phrased. Like, unless something unplanned happen, which we're hoping it doesn't, that's the goal that's the path I want to take. And I see that a lot. Like, like a while ago, I saw this couple take a government, like, domestic partnership certification.
What is that?
I didn't even know. I was like, that's still a government commitment, like still a contract. You prefer doing that than married because you think it's like less serious? I don't know. But also, we've had this conversation where it's like, oh yeah, people don't want to get married, but they want to have kids.
I do.
I think kids are a bigger commitment.
Personally, yeah.
So if you're in a serious relationship like the one I'm in, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to get married to you, but I want you to be the mother of my kids.
So you,
Michael, what do you think about that?
Oh, You go first.
I have no preference in getting married.
In
I
terms
do
of,
want to have kids though. Yeah.
so you don't feel like, in terms of Chizzy's question, that one is not of greater importance or.
No, I mean, marriage is definitely a lesser commitment because you could always just get divorced. Children are forever.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. On mine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not like it kind of pertains to your question, but basically if I don't see myself where I'm going right now, like marriage isn't like the number one thing, but I've always wanted children. So I will have children whether I have a partner or not.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But do you think kids are a bigger commitment or marriage?
Kids for sure. That's a human being.
Okay.
Definitely.
If you find a partner that you love and like check all the boxes, everything that we've been discussing, would you want to get married and have kids?
Yeah, but I do think it's just a piece of paper at the end of the day. So I don't know. Maybe I do disagree. I don't know.
I mean,
That is so interesting.
It's theorized right now.
Yeah.
because- Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for today's conversation. I loved everything that you had to say. You really got me thinking, and I hope they got you thinking at home as well. I loved discussing modern love, connection, or convenience, and stay tuned for our next episode where we talk about what do we owe each other.
I'm just a girl. Like I'm tired of being independent. I want to be wined and dined. I'm not asking for too much.
Yeah.
It'll be less than $50.
And it's okay.
Can I ask a hypothetical to the women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Say you went on a first date with a guy and he paid,
Okay.
and then you never spoke again. Like, for whatever reason, you just decided not to go on a second date. If he Venmo requested you for half the date,
Joa.
like a week later, would you pay it back? Knowing you're not going to date him again, you're not going to see him again.
I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad
I mean,
paying the
why is
person
he
back.
asking?
No, for sure. It's for
Well,
sure
yeah,
tacky.
it is
I
tacky,
don't do
of
this. I
course.
want to make that clear. But I'm just curious.
If he wants it, sure.
Yeah.
I would like to know the reason.
I would be like, what?